you're tired and you just like you can't even figure out why because you think you're doing everything right. Well, my guest today, Megan Groth, is here to kind of give us some good insight, break some myths, and honestly, to sound like my ex-husband, but I'll forgive her for that. So, but he is a researcher in at University of Michigan in the Department of Diabetes. So, yes, the things that you are saying, I'm like, oh my gosh, he told me so long ago. But I love your insight. I love hearing it from a woman, and I want you to be able to tell everybody what you're doing. So, I'm going to hand it over to you right now. And Megan, I'm going, did I call you Melissa?
No,
I have been known. Okay, I've been known to call people the wrong name. I went through one interview once and I called somebody the wrong name
No,
throughout
you
the
got my
whole
name right.
thing.
You got my name right. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let everybody know what you do and how you got started. I would love to know how you got started.
Okay, so so back to, I'm sure you don't want to talk about your ex-husband. However, there are a lot of researchers now who are completely changing the paradigm that we have had, things that we've been told, things that are still taught today. If you're in nursing school, you're going to be taught that a type 2 diabetic should not, and it's bad for them to fast, right? To do any
Right.
type of intermittent fasting. It is really hard, and it's a huge, like a wheel that's really hard to turn to get new information out into the public, right? For people to understand what's really going on. Your husband or ex-husband, sorry, was in a research lab. He's a scientist. He is looking at this stuff and understanding it. And the rest of the population really has no idea of what
Right.
that kind of
I used to
information
say
is.
sometimes I would say like, but my doctor said, and he said, your doctor does not have the latest research. I do.
I know. And your doctor went to school a long time ago. I mean, a really great book is The Lies I Taught in Medical School. And so that is an MD who taught medical school. And now he knows like pretty much all of the stuff that we have been taught for years, that we have been told, they're just really not true. So, and the basic part of that is metabolic health, right? So that doctor in that book explains why metabolic dysfunction has been ignored for decades now. And so we just treat symptoms. That's what the medical system is based on in the Western world. You have a symptom. Here is a prescription for you to address that. And they're just managing it, right? Because if you have an infection, you get on an antibiotic, that is fixing the problem. You're not on the antibiotic for the rest of your life. You're on it for 10 days, right? Maybe you do a second round, but then you're fixed. That is not the case with the medications that we get for chronic diseases, things like type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, heart disease, high cholesterol numbers, all of those things you're on forever, high blood pressure, right? You are told this is your new life. And it doesn't have to be if you find a doctor who is like her ex-husband who has the latest information in metabolic health. So I got into this because my mom got Alzheimer's when she was 55. And at the time, right, she was doing everything.
I'm 51, so that feels so scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're doing all the healthy things, you assume that you're going to be healthy, right? That's like A plus B should equal C, right? That's our world. And that is not the world for a lot of people who had gotten diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Like, well, I'm exercising. Or the people who you see these gym rats, right? Guys that are totally buff at the gym every day. They're working out and then they're on social media saying, I don't understand it. My doctor just told me I'm pre-diabetic. How is this possible? Or the athlete who has the major cardiovascular event, right? Has a heart attack or stroke. You're like, well, if they're going to have a heart attack or stroke, then, and they're like already doing everything, then what hope is there for me?
Is it because their pancreas is just like tired?
It's
From never getting a break?
so it's not necessarily that the pancreas is tired, it's that it's having to work all the time. So it is producing too much insulin because
Oh, okay.
your blood sugar is constantly elevated. So what is the one thing, Julia, that you've heard that you should do if you want to rev your metabolism?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The eat the mini meals,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
eat
yeah.
frequently.
It's funny because there's a lot of different things that I'm like, okay, yeah. But I've been told not to do that like years ago, but so many people tell me I'm wrong. They're like, no, you have to eat mini meals. And that's why I asked, does the pancreas get tired? Because I know that what I was told was like, you have to give your pancreas a break.
Right.
That
Yeah.
pancreas is just like
It's
never,
like
it's going,
working
going,
and
going,
working and
working.
working. And it's going to keep
Mhm,
doing its job, right? It's going to keep producing more insulin and more insulin and more insulin. And so now you have done something that you thought was a good idea, right? You've been told eat frequently throughout the day so that you rev your metabolism and keep your blood sugar stable. If
mm,
you understand what that actually is doing on the inside, right? It's
mhm,
very simple. Your pancreas produces that insulin. Insulin's job is to go and take that take the excess glucose in your bloodstream and put it someplace. And so the
mm,
first thing it's going to do is the cells, right? Your cells want glucose. So insulin's a key that attaches to the receptors on your cell,
mhm,
unlocks the door, and the glucose goes in. And your cell's happy, it has the energy, everything is great. But when you're doing this all day long, you have another snack, you have another little half a bite of I don't know, a muffin, or you have yogurt, or you have
or you go to Costco and they
the
have the
little snacks. Yeah.
samples.
Yeah. A little
I know, because we
demo,
would go to
right? And you're like,
Costco and
oh,
he'd go, I go, "Oh, it's just like a little sample." He'd go, "Stop eating the samples. You're not giving your pancreas a break."
that is such a good. The next time I'm talking to people, I'm going to use that. Costco is like the perfect example of this constant little tasting of food. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And we don't even think about it because we think it's just a little teeny tiny bit.
right. Yes. And small, have you ever been told moderation, right? Just like you just need to have moderation.
Yes.
Yeah. So because this concept that, well, instead of having 10 cookies, I'm just going to have one cookie or half a cookie or,
Right.
just small pieces of
But
this.
it's
It's
when we eat it, right?
yes, yes. If
Mm.
you really have to have a cookie, have the cookie at the end of your meal. Do not have it as a snack. Do not have do not go to Costco and have the demo of the cookie. Don't do it. So
Mm.
when you do that over and over and over, eventually those receptors on that cell break off and they go into the cell.
Oh.
So those receptors are gone. That's insulin resistance. Your
Mhm.
insulin has been bombarding that cell over and over and over with, hey, I've got some more glucose for you. Hey, I've got more glucose. The cell's full of glucose. It doesn't want anymore. It's sick and tired. So it's like the kids, like, I don't know, do you ever have kids like ring your doorbell like over and over and over and over? Like
Yes.
even as a kid, maybe you did that. Did you ever do that? Like,
No, I didn't. I grew up
okay,
in the countryside.
okay. Sometimes in neighborhood, kids are like, you have this one kid who's like, the doorbell rings, can Susie play? Okay. And then
Mm.
no, 5 seconds later, can Susie play? And it's, one of my kids is actually like that. I had to tell him, you cannot go over to their house again. And so it, the
And
cells.
then they ride their bike by.
Yes, yes, yeah. They're just gonna constantly
Mm.
that is insulin when you are on this constant eating program. And so the cell just takes the doorbell away to stop the
Mm.
kid, my son, from not ding donging on your doorbell. And then you're insulin resistant because there's no receptor to attach to. And so now your body
Mm.
has to do something with that sugar. It's going to stick it in the liver first, right?
Oh,
And now
that's how
you
the
got,
hell you get the fatty liver.
yes, yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And that is
Mm.
why we have such a huge problem. There's kids. We have, I don't know how old you are, Julia, but when I was a kid,
51. Mm.
okay, so in the 70s, fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease did not exist. Fatty liver disease was only for late stage alcoholics. Now
Mm.
we have 24% of our kids in, at least in the US, I'm not sure about all of Canada, but North America, as a general rule, 24% have fatty liver disease.
Is it not only though the when we're eating, but also like all the processed and stuff like that?
Yeah.
'Cause okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a huge part too, because when you, if you ate a stick of butter 6 times a day, right? Instead of
Mhm.
the cookies, the grapes, the sandwich, the pizza, whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? Anything that you're eating 6 times a day. Instead, if you just had butter or olive oil, that's a very minimal response to your glucose, to your blood sugar, right? So
Mm.
fat is converted less than 10% into glucose. So, but no one's doing that, right? How many times a day do you eat butter by
Right.
itself?
Ah.
Right. Or do a shot of olive oil.
I actually do a shot of olive oil,
Right,
but
but not all day, right? That's not the only thing
no,
you're eating.
no. And
But
I
it
even
is good,
forget to
and
do
butter is good
things,
for you, right? But
right? How do you implement these things into your daily life? I feel like sometimes I know the right answers to things, but it's in this way of living that we have right now. It's like we're bombarded with the Costco snacks and all everything like that. How have you made it so that you can implement all of these good things into your actual life?
so I feel like for most people, education is the most important key, right? Because once you understand what that Costco snack is doing, what the 6 meals a day that your doctor or someone's telling you to do, your nutritionist, your dietitian, I mean, that's what they're taught. So unless they
Mm,
have been recently educated on metabolic health, they're going to tell you the same thing that's always been said. So once you understand what's happening, then you can make different choices, right? You can say, I'm gonna eat like my ancestors did 100 years ago. I'm gonna not snack. I'm gonna have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That would be the first step that anyone can do. Just go back to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The hard part is it's really hard for some people to transition to that because
mm,
there's the social habit. Everywhere you go, there's food,
mhm.
right? So you mentioned you go to Costco and you're like, there's the food. If you go to, I don't know, do you do any like women's clubs or
Yes.
uh, do you show up and there's nothing available?
No, there's always food. There's
Right. Yeah. Every time you go anywhere.
and part of the social is to be like walking around snacking and
Yeah.
while you're talking.
Right. This was not, I mean, we think this is normal, but
Mhm,
200 years ago, that was not normal, right? There was not this constant eating.
mm,
So you have to change your paradigm on that, which education helps to do that, where you can start to see just because I'm going to this event doesn't mean I have to eat. Um,
mm.
it's hard. So I,
Intuitively, I just heard filling a void. We're trying to fill a void and we don't know what to do with ourselves. And so we go to these events and we're not sure what to do with our hands, or it's like a social awkwardness, I think,
yeah.
where we choose to eat and drink when we maybe not even hungry.
Right. But if you need something in your hand, get a glass of water. Bring your own water bottle if you have to, so you have something to hold on to. Or if that looks awkward, then there's usually water available. So
Right.
get your hands with some water or black tea or black
Yes.
coffee, right? Something
Yeah.
that's not sweetened, not sweet tea in the
Yeah.
South. They love sweet tea.
I grew up, we're both from Michigan. I sweet tea. They think I'm weird here because I drink my tea unsweetened.
Yeah. I know the first time I was given tea and I thought it was going to be what I'm used to, right? Like Michigan, you would just get iced tea that's not sweet at all, nothing in
Right.
it.
Right.
And it's like you choke on it because it's
Yeah.
like
Whoa. It's not just a little sweet. It's really sweet.
it's like more than a Coke, right? It's just
Yeah, even that talking about like cream in the coffee, because I normally drink black, but my friend wonderfully just brought me a cup of coffee and she put cream in it. And I'm like, okay. So if you're just having, how bad is having the cream in the coffee versus black?
so if you have heavy cream
Yes,
is
it
just
is
fat.
heavy cream.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not a problem at all
Okay.
because if you used milk, there's sugar in milk. right? There's in 1 glass of milk, there is 3.5 cubes of sugar. I usually have it in front of me where I can kind of show, but 3.5 cubes of sugar in 1 glass of milk.
Wow.
It's on purpose, right? The baby cow needs
Right.
sugar to grow.
But it's not in the heavy cream. There's not much
Heavy cream
sugar?
is how, like, have you ever made butter?
Yes.
Okay, so you're just taking that heavy cream, shake it up in a, or like churn it,
Right.
whatever you're doing, and then you got the buttermilk, and then you have the butter is just fat. There's no sugar in buttermilk, and there's no sugar
Oh,
because cream doesn't have sugar in it. It's just a pure fat.
interesting. I actually didn't know that. I mean, I knew that there was some sugar in milk, but I didn't know that much.
Yeah, 13
And
grams in 1 glass.
wow. And I really didn't have any idea that the cream is it so the sugar is not attaching to the fat molecules? I'm sorry, my science brain is trying to figure out why that.
Yeah, it's just heavy cream is just the fat. So if you went and milked a cow today, which I can tell you I've never done. However, my dad grew up in Philadelphia, and they would have, this is a long time ago, right? He's mid 80s. They would have milk delivery on the doorsteps of all the different row houses. And
Mhm.
he would go through like, this is not good, but he would go through and take the cream off of everyone's, like, all the
Milk,
neighbors'
yes.
milk, because the glass jar of milk
Yes.
would have the milk at the bottom and
The
then the
cream
cream
on
on
top.
top, and you could just like pick it off and
Yeah.
eat it. And that's not fair because these people, I'm sure, wanted their thing, and they knew. I mean, he's like this little boy, and they would say, "Stop taking my cream." But yeah,
But
so
he was
that part
healthy.
separates, the fat separates.
Okay, that's very interesting. So you were saying like, so if we're at gatherings and stuff like that, black tea, black coffee, or coffee with a little heavy cream,
Mhm.
that's going to be okay then.
That's
So if
going to be
I'm
okay.
if I'm just like drinking my tea throughout the day, as long as there's like no sugar in it, then I'm okay. But
Yes.
even honey is probably bad, eh?
Yes. I know there's so many health benefits with honey. Honey, I mean, there's people now who are saying have honey before you go to bed because you need to keep your blood sugar stable. You do not. Your body is
Mm,
designed to be able to function without food, right?
mm,
If not, people would be like, I don't know if we can use this word on this platform, but not with us anymore because they're
mhm,
like, everyone's blood sugar just got a little bit. Oh, you skipped dinner? Like that kid who was told,
mm.
well, I don't know, whatever you
Right,
did like 50 years ago, you have to go to bed
right,
without dinner. No one does that now,
right,
but
right.
like, you're going to bed without dinner. Those kids would just be like dropping like flies, right? No,
Right, right.
because your body can make its own glucose, right?
How long? How long can a person safely fast? Do you
So
know?
the longest on record is 380 days.
What?
Yeah. You have to have a lot of stored fat for you to be able to to safely fast that long. But Barber, what is his name?
O'Neill?
Anyways, he's
Oh,
an English gentleman, and
oh,
he was under medical care. He did get some vitamins, but no food. He could, I think, he just liquid, coffee, tea, kind of thing. And so he lost a significant. I mean, like, he looks like a different person. He went from morbidly obese to very thin in 380 days.
so can we talk about fasting in women then? Because I know I've read conflicting research. Some people say fasting is for men and it's only been studied in men and it's not good for women. What have you found?
So I always recommend Dr. Mindy Peels has a book, Fast Like a Girl. And she is like, if you're someone who's worried about your hormones, especially perimenopause and menopause, because our hormones are shifting anyway, you
Mhm.
have to be careful with how you do fasting. And there are times of the month that are better to do fasting than others. When your body's building progesterone, you don't want to be fasting.
Okay.
But like 12 hours overnight is not considered like, that's
Right.
okay. Like, anyone can do that. But when you're talking about going longer, 16 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, during the time when your body is building progesterone, that's a no-no.
Okay.
But
But what
other
about like postmenopausal? I'm postmenopausal.
so you still can do some fasting, but you still want to give your body a break where you're not always doing intermittent fasting, because your body's still producing some level of hormones,
Mhm.
maybe not much, but some. And she would recommend then that you do, like out of the 7 days, maybe you do five. I think one of her plans is 5-1-1, so 5 days of fasting,
Mm.
um, one like intermittent fasting, 1 day of feasting. And if you want to throw a longer fast in there, you can do it. But so I switch things up, right? So you would do maybe twice a week that I'm doing 3 meals a day. And then other days of the week where I'm doing either 18, sometimes 24. I just kind of switch it up. In
Mhm.
general, postmenopausal women are not encouraged to do longer fasts,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't work for you. You just have to be very careful with your hormones. And so,
Someone says Dr. Nadia Hadguino worked with Jason Fung and developed an entire fasting protocol and discovered it cured PCOS and infertility for women.
yeah, I love Dr. Fun. So I've met him personally. I have talked to him. I've been to multiple things where he has, talked. And this is a great book. He's got multiple books, right? This book, and then do I have
And that one's called the
also
Diabetes Cure. Oh,
the diabetes code?
oh, code. Okay.
Code, and then this is the obesity code. He also has another one that, I don't think we're really
Oh,
supposed to talk about that on social media, but it's another code for another chronic illness. You can just look it up.
okay.
But it's all the same thing, right? You cannot continue with our standard American diet, the SAD diet of highly processed food that has the fiber stripped out. There is a reason the fiber is stripped out. There's two things.
Mm,
One is profit, and the second is profit.
mhm,
So the first, you take
mhm,
fiber out because you're going to eat more, right?
mhm,
Fiber is what fills you up. It's the same idea that if you could drink 15 Cokes, right? You probably have massive blood sugar problem, but you're not going to fill up. You're just going to keep drinking Coke.
mhm.
Versus you have a something with fiber in it, like a sweet potato or oatmeal or something like that, right? You can't just continue to have 15 bowls of oatmeal. You're going to be full.
Right, right.
So the fiber fills you up. If you take it out of food, you're going to sell more food because people are going to buy more because they continue to eat, right? We have an overeating problem.
This might sound like a silly question, but when we take our vegetables and our fruits and we turn them into a smoothie, are we modifying the fiber content at all, or is it?
Yes. The only time that that is a good idea is blackberries. Blackberries, those seeds are so hard that if you do blend them up, the fiber content actually is more beneficial. Pretty much
Mm,
every other fruit, absolutely no. You are breaking down that fiber. And when you have something that's already broken down, you're going to have a faster uptake of that glucose. And so, eating quickly, like you take the same sandwich and you eat it super fast, like your mom would tell you, don't eat so fast, slow down. That's actually good advice because you eat that sandwich fast, you're going to have a higher blood sugar spike. Then the next day, you take that exact same sandwich and you eat it slowly because the
mm.
faster it gets in, the faster it's digested, the bigger spike you're going to have. Same thing with a smoothie. So if you cannot probably chew all the kale and the spinach and the apple and the maybe pineapple, whatever it is you're
So
sticking in.
you know what I'm seeing in my head, and I'm seeing like a fire and somebody dripping gasoline on it versus dumping gasoline,
Yes,
like a big thing of gasoline. Like all of a sudden, it's going to be like whoosh, right?
that is a really good analogy. Yes.
Mm.
So instead
Okay.
of like chewing it, you got to swallow it. Your body's digesting. It's going to be a slow uptake of that glucose. When you're blended it up, you can just suck those things down pretty quickly, right? They
Right.
taste
Oh
good.
man. I love smoothies too. And I've been doing a little bit less smoothies because I did hear something about that and I wasn't quite sure why I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but I remembered that I wasn't supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
Um
And as you get older, here's another problem. Like a lot of people have problems with digestive enzymes, right? And like digesting your food in general. When you are not chewing, you're missing part of
Mm.
the digestion process.
Right,
So
because it
that,
starts in your mouth, right?
yes. So that chewing is triggering those digestive enzymes and the stomach acids and things like that that you're going to need. And if you're just drinking it, you're not getting that. So some people say, well, then I
Mm.
just like chew, like pretend to chew, but you should just be chewing.
Mm.
And it's in general, I do not do smoothies anymore. I used to be a huge fan, did them every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you're so the chewing gets I'm full of analogies and things like that. It's how my brain works. Because what I'm thinking about is like uh when you're chewing, it's like, waking the person up before feeding them, being like, wake up, a little baby, wake up and eat, right? That's what the chewing is doing versus just dumping the milk on their face and being like, and they're being like, whoa, what am I supposed to do with all of this? It's like, it's, it happens all of a sudden then, and your body doesn't even know how to process all of it. Am I understanding this correctly?
It's just you're designed to start the digestive process in your mouth. And so it's triggering all the downhill effects that need to happen to effectively digest your food. And without doing the chewing, then you're you're not doing that, right? So you're not getting the
Right.
benefits of that, which is why if you want to chew gum, so people ask questions about chewing gum a lot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
can I chew gum during a fast? Should I chew gum all day? Is that a bad idea? Even if you're chewing just you know gum that has stevia or something, like not a bunch of stuff in or sugar in it, you want to watch out for maltodextrin. That's a hidden sugar. But if you're doing that, you're triggering that first part of the digestion process without there being any finishing of it.
Oh,
So it's
oh, so you're tricking it. It's like
it's not good.
getting ready. It's getting
Yes.
ready to digest something, but then you're not giving it anything to digest.
Right. Your stomach's all ready for it and it's all prepped and nothing comes in. So it's better to chew gum after your meal. It's actually, there's some studies that show this beneficial because you're continuing to, increase your body's, like the whole digestion process by doing the chewing. So if you want to chew gum,
Um,
do it after your meal. And dentists will say that too. Like it helps with your teeth, right? Cleaning off your teeth. But in general, in terms of a digestion process, in terms of not starting, because during a fast, a lot of times you're wanting the benefit of a your digestive tract to get a break. So
mm.
by triggering it to like start working, that's that's not what you want to do. So do that after you eat.
I'm sitting here going, well, if I'm in a situation and there's a smoothie available and nothing else, can I chew gum before I eat my smoothie? Get my body all used to it
You could. That would be, and then do it slowly, right? Just sip on it
and
slowly.
then
That would
sip
be if,
on it.
yeah, because there's always ways you can make things work if you have to. If you understand
Yes.
what's going on in your body. That's why information is so
Yes.
important.
Right? Without this conversation, I wouldn't be thinking of these wacky things to do, but you do. It is good to have all the information and to understand it completely because I was watching your live on TikTok and I was like putting pieces together because like I said, I've been told so much information, but I think the way that you say it is so easy to receive.
Well,
And
hopefully. I hope so.
oh yeah, it is. And I think more people should check you out and listen to what you're saying. Now do you help women guide them, or what do you do with all your information that you have?
Yeah, so I actually work with clients, male and female. So lots of men are metabolically unhealthy, right? When their insulin is high, their testosterone's low. So you've got a lot of men,
Mm,
I know that's not what we're talking about today, but who are
that's
walking
okay.
around thinking erectile dysfunction is something they have to live with because of
Yeah.
their low testosterone. That's not true. We see guys double, triple their testosterone just by getting their insulin levels down. So I work with a protocol with my clients that addresses the main problems. One is we don't get enough fiber. So I use a fiber. supplement that you have before you eat. It slows that uptake of glucose so that up to 43% of a reduction in the uptake of glucose, which helps your blood sugar not to go quite so high. And so you need less insulin. It's like a 1-to-1 ratio with insulin and your blood sugar.
I have a little bit of a unique situation where I have basically the symptoms of somebody who would have spina bifida because I had a spinal cord tumor. And so, yeah, like I went to the University of Michigan Bowel Clinic years ago, and what they said is you have to do the opposite. You have to have low fiber because part of my intestine is actually paralyzed. And if I put so much fiber in, I just bloat up and my body, and it's miserable. It's miserable.
And that's very similar to other people too, like people with diverticulitis or Crohn's or colitis. They also will be told that not to do basically a low fiber diet, which we know is really tough on your gut because you need the fiber to have your feed. That's the prebiotic feeding your probiotics. So with the fiber that we use, it is a highly tolerable fiber that does not cause we have people who with Crohn's disease. I mean, you got to start small, right? You're just using a little bit throughout the day and working your body up to it. But they, Crohn's, which normally is like a no-go for any fiber.
Interesting.
Diverticulitis, same thing. So you can build your way up. The specific fiber that I use is very, very gentle on people's bodies, but yet it's like it was initially developed as a alternative to cholesterol lowering medication, and it lowers triglycerides better than the medication. Lowers LDL-B better. LDL-A is like light and fluffy. So when you're on that medication because your lipid panel is high and your total LDL is going down, it's your A that's going down, which is the light and fluffy and the one that's you need cholesterol. So ours lowers the LDL-B, which is the small, dense LDL that you would potentially have a problem with, causing blockages. That is the opposite of what the lipid lowering medication does. And that's why you have people who look like their numbers are fine. Their total LDL has gone down. They don't know that it's the A that's down and their B is still high. The B is the dangerous one, and triglycerides are the dangerous one. And 50% of people who have heart attacks have normal, like their cholesterol numbers are normal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, is there any way to, when the doctors are running your blood panel, is there a way for them to differentiate between the A and the B?
There is. It's expensive. So most doctors, you're like, if you just get your normal lipid panel, you're not going to get it. Yes, they can do that. The easiest one to know if you're at risk for, if you have insulin resistance, and two, if you're at risk for a cardiovascular event, is your triglycerides, right? Everyone gets that in their normal lipid panel, and you can take your triglycerides and divide it by your HDL. That's what they call the good cholesterol. That most of us are like sitting at 30 and they're like, we want you higher. And you're like, I'm trying. So that ratio will tell you. If you're in Canada listening to this, your numbers are different. So you just have to multiply that by 2.3. So if you're in the US, then it's just triglycerides divided by HDL. If your number is above 1.5, then you have a problem. And the higher the number, the bigger the problem, the bigger the risk for a heart disease. If you are in Canada, you just take that number, multiply it by 2.3, and it's the same scale, 1.5 then or higher, and you have a problem. 2 is is a problem. 3, you got a big problem. 4, you need to do something.
So I'm going to try to break this down in very, very manageable. So someone who's watching it can understand, and I'll use myself as a case study. So 51 years old, postmenopausal. I've gained 40 pounds in the last 2 years postmenopausal. And let's take out my specific strange case for the fiber. Let's get more general. What what would be normal? What would you tell somebody to do?
So I would tell them that the first thing they need to do is cut out all snacking. And then I have found that that's really hard for people, right? Their GLP-1 is low, they're hungry all the time, they're used to it. There's a social expectation to eat all the time. So for my clients, I have them drink a concentrated chlorogenic acid tea. It's just from the yerba mate plant. It's in the physician's desk reference. It is tested. It's NSF certified. I do not put things in my body that are not like, does it have heavy metals? I don't know. Nope. This does not have any heavy metals or pesticides. So you drink that and you can do some no snacking, right? You drink it in between your meals or you skip breakfast and do a little bit of intermittent fasting in where you can get your insulin levels down faster by taking longer breaks of not eating, or you can do 3 meals a day and just have it in between breakfast and lunch and dinner, and it just takes away the food noise, just like the GLP-1 agonists that people are using that have a long laundry list of side effects. So you're doing that, your GLP-1 is high, you feel amazing, you have energy, your inflammation is down, and the key to this is your cortisol is down. So a lot of people, a lot of
Mm,
women especially, have high cortisol.
mhm.
And if you do, you're never going to get any benefits from the intermittent fasting or anything else. Your cortisol is high. And doing
So how do you
intermittent
get the
fasting
cortisol?
can raise
The
cortisol.
Yeah, so does the yerba mate drink help lower the cortisol?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
There,
Hmm.
if you go out and go to PubMed and look up chlorogenic acid, there's over 100 studies on this stuff. It is like probably the most amazing plant compound that we have. It lowers blood pressure. It affects like helps age related eye disease. It's neuroprotective. It works just like your diabetes medication
Uh-huh.
without the side effects. It's a natural insulin sensitizer. It works
And
just like
what is it called one more time?
the one that chlorogenic acid is
Fluorogenic
the
acid. Okay.
compound, yes. And the drink that I drink, it just has the highest concentration of chlorogenic acid. That is what I use with my clients. So chlorogenic acid in the form of the concentrated yerba mate, and then your GLP-1 is 70% higher. So the food noise goes
Mm,
away without having to have side effects from doing an agonist. And you feel good, right? You don't have to eat. Your cortisol is lower, your inflammation is lower. You
mhm,
feel amazing finally for the first time in 20 years. And
mhm,
then we do a fiber before you eat food. And typically at first you're
mm,
just going to do a fiber before one meal because your body has to, like, depending on what your gut health is, you're going to like slowly work your way up to it. And that fiber naturally lowers triglycerides and LDLB. It works better than the medication that you can get for that. It's the Cleveland Clinic, number one heart hospital in the world, studied this, peer reviewed, published research, and
mhm.
showed that it works better than that the cholesterol lowering medication. I'm making sure I'm not saying the name.
We have one question here. It says, does it work similar to berberine
Mhm.
or have interactions with it?
So the one that I'm talking about has no contraindications with anything, any medication or anything at all. Berberine is a really good supplement for helping to control blood sugar. And so a lot of diabetics are told, hey, add berberine in. Some people have a hard time tolerating berberine, other people don't. It will help. It is not going to take your A1C from 14.2 to 4.8. Is
Mm,
it helps, right? And anything as a type 2 diabetic, right, is good. Let's get whatever you can. The what I'm talking about though, we see people who go from 14.4 in their A1C to 4.8. Or
fun.
I mean, that's going to take some time. Third, there's 90 days that they guarantee your blood work, right? You do the system, and at the end of 90 days, you take your blood work. If your A1C is not lower and your triglycerides and the rest of your blood work does not look great and lower, or your HDL higher, which is what you want, you just get every single penny back. And that does not happen. I mean, sometimes people are like, the taste isn't for me, or I'm not just ready to make some changes, right? You have to want to make changes. And then for those people, you're like, okay, this was not the right time for you. Just get your money back. And maybe in a year or two, you'll be in a position where you want to make some changes. But other than
Yeah.
that, it's easy. Anyone can do it. And we have huge success with people who have tried everything, right? They've tried berberine, they've tried controlling their carbs, whether it's their stress or whether it's they just can't, they have to,
Mm,
cheat. Like, why?
mhm.
It's just a Costco little demo. It's just a little
Right.
thing.
Oh, mine, I'm gonna call myself out and say I know mine is drinking energy drinks when I'm trying to push myself because I'm trying to do so much and I'm like dragging and I hit an energy drink. I
So
know
your
it's so
body
bad to
can
me.
naturally have more energy, especially with chlorogenic acid in the drink that I do without. I mean, you've seen the different information
Mhm.
pieces and social media pushes on these people who end up with serious health problems because of the energy drinks, the overuse of
Mhm.
those.
Mm,
Ours is natural energy. It's not a bunch of caffeine put in there. It Yerba mate makes you feel good. It increases your mitochondria activity. So it increases fat burning by 24%. You're burning more energy. You are revving your metabolism because your body is increasing its energy usage. So without the crash and without the issues with an energy drink.
yeah, I know. I know it's bad for me and I like even though I'm usually against buying a product like this because I'll think, I don't want something packaged. I don't want something packaged. I want to just grow my yerba mate and do it. But the truth is I end up not doing it because I have to because I'm busy
Yeah.
and then hitting an energy drink. And I think that this would be so much better than hitting an energy drink.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Quacky Dork, I love that name. Okay. So it is safe with a normal A1C. There are people who are insulin resistant and your A1C has not increased yet because your body's still able to handle, like, it's shoving it in the liver, it's doing other things for it. But yes, you um anyone who is looking to get metabolically healthy, this works for. It doesn't matter if you are someone who has high blood pressure or don't have high blood pressure, right? Some people will ask, well, if my blood pressure is normal, is this going to bring it down too much? But no, right? It is making you healthy. So if your blood pressure is high, you'll just get that blood pressure down. Um,
Mhm.
if you have LDL problems, right? It's not going to bring your LDL down to where you have none. Like, if you look at the studies, the
Mhm.
people with these shortest lifespans have the lower LDL,
Yeah.
right?
I'm hearing homeostasis.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, yes, that's exactly
Mhm.
right. So, and
Mm.
anyone who's interested in looking, I mean, I have a website called Glucose Matters. So, glucose, GlucoseMatters, glucosematters.com. And you can get more information about like my story in particular. I was sick and now I'm not sick. And then how I changed um, to really recommending this for everyone. I mean, I love it. I have been doing this system for 3 years. I think it's radically changed not just my health, but pretty much every client that I work with. It is
What is the
a
first thing that you started with?
in like
On
like
your journey, what was the first did you do the yerba mate supplement? Was that the first thing you tried?
no, I started off with intermittent fasting. That was the first
Okay.
thing that I tried, and I got zero results. After a year
Mhm.
and a half of doing intermittent fasting, I still had debilitating plantar fasciitis in both feet, had constant bursitis flares in my shoulder, had migraines. I had brain fog, could not think clearly, had all the preclinical Alzheimer's symptoms that my mom had. I knew I was headed
Mm.
down the same path. I had high blood pressure. And I was doing whole foods. I was doing intermittent fasting. I was exercising at least 5 days a week, doing your standard recommendations, and still just as sick as I was prior to that. So, the first thing that once I spent 2 months kind of like I'm doing all these other things. How is this going to help?
Mhm.
I didn't really understand the power of chlorogenic acid. I could read about it, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes feeling is believing. And so as soon
Mhm.
as I drank that first one, I was like, okay, I finally can I can feel happier, right? My cortisol went down. I was struggling with chronic grief. And so my cortisol
Mm.
finally went down and I felt joy again. And then the intermittent fasting could work, right? Because instead of having high cortisol that's keeping my insulin
Yeah,
high, when
yeah,
your cortisol is high, your insulin's high. It doesn't matter if you ate or you didn't eat. And
yeah.
so could get insulin sensitive very quickly. I mean, my migraines went away immediately. I had migraines every other day or every other week for I'd be in bed for 2 days. And I have not had a migraine or even a headache in
Wow.
over 3 years.
See, and I woke up this morning with a headache, to be quite honest. And I woke up, and I mean, I feel like you can look at my skin. I know that I'm having all of the issues that you're dealing with right now, high blood pressure. And I try to eat so healthy,
Yeah.
but I know my cortisol is high,
Yes.
and I'm dealing with grief, and I'm dealing with like trying to do everything by I'm married. That's, I don't mean everything by myself, but there's so much that I'm
Yes.
trying to do by myself and juggle. And I want to figure out like I, I want you're glowing. Like I'm like looking at I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself, and I'm not an anti-aging kind of person, but I just want to feel healthy. You
It's
know
the
what I say?
inflammation. Yeah. I mean, the
Yes,
first thing
I
we
feel it.
see.
It's like
Yep.
puffy.
Yep. The first thing we see with people is their face changes within
Mhm.
like the first month, where people will say, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Well, I've only really lost like 5 pounds or 7 pounds or something, like not that much that anyone would you think would notice." But your face changes shape. Guys,
Mm.
got, females, it doesn't matter. All that inflammation is there, that
The
puffy.
eye puffiness
Yes.
and
Yeah.
um so
So,
you do the herba mate drink, and people can get these things off from your website, right?
yes. So my website will
Okay.
have a link there. It has the biggest discount. It's direct from the manufacturer. It's in 63 countries. It's Health Canada approved. It's your doctor can look it up in the physician's desk reference. Both products are there. They have over 20 clinical studies, Cleveland Clinic, University of Sydney. I mean, credible places. This is not, I don't dabble in just junk stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
or the latest craze. These
Yeah,
products have
I'm
been
not a
around.
latest craze thing, but this one, I'm very intuitive, and this one is like sparkling at me like nobody's business. I'm so excited to try this one and to try to like show people the results. But you were saying, is there any other like supplements or products or things like that that other people should go should, because I'm thinking like, what about magnesium? What about B vitamins? What about your D's being low? All of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
So most people have low D, right?
Hmm.
We're not outside in the fields all the time. So most of us have low D, and most people, their doctor recommends them to be on a D. So I feel like that's a safe one. If you are taking a D, you need to have it with K2. You're not getting the absorption you want
Mm.
unless you have a D3 with K2. They're combined in a lot of products now. So look for that. Magnesium is absolutely something our people are low in. An avocado is one of the highest concentrations
Oh.
of magnesium in terms of food that you can easily choose. So have an avocado and you will be able to get that magnesium. Your heart needs magnesium to function. So you
Mm.
absolutely want to, if you are having trouble sleeping, take some magnesium glycinate before bed. That's what I do before bed.
Mm.
And it helps you to sleep. If you have muscle cramping, you're probably low on magnesium, and so that's an easy one. I it, the this stuff the both of the products that I use, the it's called Unimate and Balance. So those two, Balance has the B vitamins in it. It's got chromium, right? Things that are good for blood sugar control. So it's minerals, fiber, and some vitamins. And so I don't need anything else with that. But if you are, I mean, you need to make sure your B12, especially if you're a vegan, if you don't have B12, that's a hard one to
Mm.
bring up if you're a vegan. And that you can get permanent nerve damage from having low B12. It's really a serious thing. So
Mm,
you need to, of course, manage all of that. But um, in general, I would say the key, I mean, if you're worried about your immune system, right, you can always add in a little zinc, zinc, copper, and quercetin, right, things like
mhm.
that. But that's why it's hard to, you know,
Give
people
a
always
general.
want to know, like, how much am I supposed to have? What,
Mm,
I've been taking supplements for years. I don't know whether they did anything good for me or not, but as soon as I started the system, right, like everything changed. It is measurable, tangible results where you
mm.
can feel the difference. And
So just with this one product, you felt like this huge difference.
yeah, completely, it's a game changer. And it's two products in one system, but yes. And
Okay.
but I still take D because I don't get a ton
I
of
got
sun.
prescribed prescription D. I don't go to the doctor very often. I'm like, I was married to 2 doctors and I've had enough of doctors. It's so bad. But, I finally took myself to the doctor because my blood pressure was so insanely high. And so, uh, they did a blood panel and she was like, "You should be on the," of course, the cholesterol medicine. I was like, "No." And then I was saying no to everything. And then she goes, "Well, what about a prescription D?" And I was like, "No, I," and then I was like, "All right, give it to me."
Yeah.
And I did feel dramatically better when I was taking it. She had me on it for like 3 weeks, once a week. Take this
Yeah, D
vitamin
is
D.
really important for your health. It's important for
And I'm in
your immune health,
Florida and
everything.
I'm in the sun all the time. Like I garden. I mean, I'm outside right now because I hate being inside. So even living in Florida, me being outside probably at least 60% of, it's like I sleep inside. Sometimes I sleep outside. I'm not even going to kid you. I love being outside and my vitamin D was still low.
Yeah. And so, yeah, not everyone is able to convert that. There's a bunch of different things that, can be a factor with that. But either way, right? D is a really um, common one that even medical doctors who don't believe in supplements, they
Mhm.
will say you need some D.
And that affects your mental health a lot too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, your gut, everything affects your mental health. You kind of just, we have this silo idea that like heart health and mental
Right,
health and gut
right,
health, it's all one system. And,
right,
it's not the cardiovascular system and the circulatory system, it's one system. And so when your
right.
gut health is off, your mental health is off.
Yep.
When you're when you're metabolically unhealthy, that's why Dr. Bickman in his book, this is another great like little starter book, Why We Get Sick by Dr. Bickman. He talks about
Mm,
how like literally just about every chronic disease that there is because you're insulin resistant or you're metabolically unhealthy.
I love
The
that.
high blood pressure, the
Oh my
heart
goodness.
attack and the stroke, that's insulin resistance. The um, eye floaters, even, right? We were told, oh, you're so
Right,
older, you're getting eye floaters. No, that is pre-diabetic eye disease. That's sugar in your eyes is retinopathy,
right,
your brain dementia, Alzheimer's. I mean, it's all the same thing. So
right. And
yeah,
like what we were talking about before when we were talking personally, like they call Alzheimer's now diabetes type 3 or something, right?
yes, yeah, they know now that it's a metabolic disease. Where when my mom got it 25 years ago, it was just bad luck. Maybe she just wasn't doing
Genetics.
the right lifestyle things. But less than 1%, they're saying now, is um, genetic. And I mean, Dr. Bredesen, his tagline on social media, oops, going the wrong way, is Alzheimer's is optional. You've got Dr. Heather
Mm,
Sanderson, who has a book, Reversing Alzheimer's. It's all the same thing, right? You fix your metabolic health and you don't have to worry about dementia and Alzheimer's. And that is why, like, I don't know if you've ever looked at the stats on um, the people in nursing homes with dementia and Alzheimer's. When they test them, right, 80% of them, 81% of them are type 2 diabetics. That's not
wow.
a random
Yeah.
coincidence. they're metabolically
I will
unhealthy.
tell you, I have there are days that are worse than others, but some days I start really feeling a little bit scared about myself. Like one day I asked my husband if he, because I make him lunch every day. Everybody thinks that's so weird, but I like making him lunch every day. And I said, "Honey, are you ready for lunch?" First time he's like, "No." And then the last time I asked him, and I didn't remember any times, and he goes, "That is the 3rd time you asked me that." And I was like, "Oh my god, are you serious?" Like, I asked him 3 times, and I didn't each time, I did not remember the previous time.
I saw a funny reel today on, maybe it was Instagram, and it was a woman who, it says in the caption there that she's perimenopause, menopause, or whatever, and she's like, "Here's how you bake when you're doing that." And it flashes to like 1/2 teaspoon of something, right? Salt, right? And she's like, "Okay." And then she goes, baking soda, and then she goes and gets the thing. It says baking, you can see her like, and then she goes back like 10 times, having to go back to 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Is this baking
It's
soda?
exhausting.
Yes, because you can't remember even from reading that 2 seconds ago. What was it? Is it baking soda,
Yes,
salt? What? Yes.
and my children have gotten mad at me, like, really, like, I will forget conversations. They're like, "Mom, we totally had this conversation." I'm like, "Did we?" And they're, "Mom, we had this conversation. You're gaslighting me." I'm like, "I'm not gaslighting you. I just don't remember."
Yeah. So
So,
Julia, you, not to scare
ugh,
you, but Alzheimer's and dementia takes 20 to 30 years that it's like ramping its way up. And those are the
the key
big, big
things.
warning signs. Huge. You
Mhm.
got to do something. Well, I don't care what you do, just do something to get that
Yeah.
metabolic health under control. Your brain cells become insulin resistant. And when they're insulin resistant, you're talking atrophy, right? Because your brain's
Oh,
not
yeah.
getting the energy that it needs. It has
Yes.
to have glucose or ketones. If you're not in ketosis, you're not getting ketones. If you're not, um, uh, if your cells cannot open that, like the insulin cannot open that door to get the glucose in, you are starving your brain.
Which makes sense. I mean, and if I'm under high stress and the cortisol is higher, does that make it worse?
Yes. So when your cortisol is high, your insulin's high. So you're going to have
Oh,
chronic cortisol. All your hormones play with each other, right? When insulin is high, testosterone is low. When insulin is high, estrogen is low, which is why everyone says PCOS. I think someone mentioned in here
yeah.
PCOS being, uh, you know, to do with your metabolic health. Absolutely. Because your low estrogen, also, like when you're in menopause, perimenopause, your hormones are shifting, your estrogen's getting lower, but now you're putting in this artificial thing of like your insulin is high, making it
Mm,
so that your estrogen is low. And when cortisol is high, insulin is high. You have not eaten anything, right? So this is my
mm,
problem with intermittent fasting. I would eat nothing in the morning and my insulin would be high. How is that possible?
mhm.
Because cortisol is going to have my blood sugar and my insulin high, even though I've
Oh,
eaten
yeah.
nothing.
Yes, yes. My kids usually will get me something to eat when I start getting like this. That they'll notice it, like I'm in the middle of talking and all of a sudden I'm stumbling over my words. And my daughter, she's 17, she says, "Mom, when's the last time you ate?" I'm like, I don't I don't know." And mom, stop and get yourself some juice or something, because I will not even I start not knowing how to even say my words,
Yep.
like stumbling over my words. And that all of these things put together, I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you my scariest one. I'm going to be vulnerable here and tell you my scariest. 2 years ago, when I was selling my house and getting ready to move, the amount of stress I can't even tell you because I was doing everything
Moving
myself.
is huge. Yeah.
It was selling a house that I loved, and it was like we kept on running into huge snafus about things. So the stress was just there. I take my college student. I She doesn't drive yet and she goes to school locally, so I would drive her to school every day. I would pick her up from her apartment and take her to class. And there were a couple of times where I was driving down the road and I looked and I didn't remember what road I was on. it was complete fear. I was like, okay, where am I? And my brain starts going, I'm looking for clues. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? What am I doing? And at one point, my children know me well enough. I looked over at my daughter and she goes, Mom, you're taking me to class. I'm like, okay,
That's
that
preclinical
was
Alzheimer's symptoms, right? That's right. And that's really scary. And
that was really scary.
I watched my mom do this too, where eventually you have to take the driver's license away because they're in a town they've been in forever and
Yeah,
they don't recognize they're getting lost. Nothing makes any sense. And no one
yeah.
has to go down this path except for
And
1%.
and so like it got better after my stress decreased,
Mhm.
but I
Because your
still
body
think,
became more insulin sensitive and your brain cells could get the glucose that you're trying to feed that brain.
ah, but I'm excited to try this product and I'm gonna keep on like updating people and how things are going with me because I'm so happy that I stumbled upon that TikTok live that you were doing. And I'm so excited to try these products and to read the books that you're recommending. And I I love being healthy.
Yeah. It's
And
life changing. It's life changing.
yeah, yeah, I'm only 51 years old. I want to live a long life of high cognitive function, you know?
Yeah. 50 more years. You can have 50 more years.
Yeah. My grandma just turned 100 last year. So, yeah.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And she's just starting that point where she'll just tell you the same stories over and over again. But,
But I
but
mean,
she's 100.
100, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you are going to decay. However, we don't want to decay at 40, 50, even
Right.
60, right? We've got a lot of life to live and a lot of things we can like contribute and do in society.
Yes. And feel better and live a happier life. Right.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Oh my goodness. Is there anything else that you want to say to everybody right now?
No, if anyone wants to check out the system, right, just glucosematters.com. So GlucoseMatters, glucosematters.com. And there is a way for you to reach out to me on that. It'll say like contact me, and I'm happy. I do free consults with anyone who is trying to get healthy because I know how confusing and frustrating it is,
Mhm.
um, and you can get there. Like there is hope.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much
It was a
for taking the
pleasure.
time to do this. And I look forward to, like I said, getting the products and updating you on how everything is going.
Great. Look
All
forward
right.
to it. Okay.
Thank you,
Have a good day,
Megan.
Julia.
You too. Bye.